A big case has shocked the financial industry in China. It's a story that has brought tears to ordinary Chinese as well. On November 4th, 2023, Shanghai state-owned development group Lujiazui issued an announcement exposing the 7-year toxic land case to the public. Why is it so shocking? Shanghai Lujiazui Company Limited is well known in China's financial circle. A state-owned enterprise, it's mainly responsible for developing land in the Lujiazui Finance and Trade Zone, the country's only national development zone with finance and trade in its name. It ranked first among the top 10 listed real estate companies in China in 2003 by the Development Research Center of the State Council of China. Such a renowned financial district real estate developer in Shanghai was screwed by its next-door neighbor, the Suzhou municipal government. The company spent RMB 8.5 billion or about US 1.17 billion in 2016 and purchased 17 pieces of industrial land from Suzhou Steel Group. The land was to develop more than 7,000 residential and commercial units as well as supporting schools, parks, and gas stations. The project officially started construction in May 2017 and was planned to last 8 years. It was expected to be finished around 2025. Suzhou Steel Group is also a state-owned enterprise, with Ping An Group as the de facto controller behind it. Ping An Group is the first insurance-based integrated financial conglomerate in China. Because the land used to be for industrial use, when it was sold, Suzhou Steel Group patted itself on the back and promised that the polluted land had been fixed. Except for a small part of the scorched land that was still polluted, other plots of land were absolutely safe. Suzhou Research Institute of Environmental Sciences, one of the agencies of the Suzhou municipal government, also issued a third-party testing report. Lujiazui Group thus bought the land. The land transfer fee was paid, and all the necessary paperwork like the land use certificate was obtained. Part of the residence, kindergarten, fitness park, and so on were also built. The construction of more than 2,000 homes was completed, and most of them have been sold to the public. But when a school was undergoing inspection, problems were found. The testing organization told Lujiazui Group that the benzene level in buildings exceeded the standard by more than 50 times. The Lujiazui Group then turned over all the remaining undeveloped land and found that they were not in good condition. All of them exceeded the standard of benzopyrene and other strong carcinogenic substances. It's totally different from the test report provided by Suzhou Research Institute of Environmental Sciences. Now, more than 2,000 flats have been built. It can be said that whoever moves into the flats awaits cancer and death. The only remedy is to demolish the buildings, dig out all the topsoil for hazardous treatment, and then fill in the landfill with new soil. Now, the Lujiazui Group is suing Jiangsu Steel Group and Suzhou Research Institute of Environmental Sciences for violation of laws and regulations, and claiming RMB 10 billion or US 1.37 billion in damages. Here is the list of defendants. Jiangsu Steel Group, Suzhou Research Institute of Environmental Sciences, Suzhou Municipal Environmental Science and Technology Committee, Suzhou National High-Tech Industrial Development Zone Management Committee, and the Suzhou Natural Resources and Planning Bureau. What makes this case so special is that a prominent Shanghai state-owned enterprise is taking on the Suzhou municipal government itself, as well as its subordinate units and state-owned enterprises. It's an intra-governmental fight, so to speak. The claim for damages is nearly US 1.4 billion, the highest amount since the founding of the CCP regime. As a result, it has caused a sensation in China. Some netizens have suggested that the Suzhou municipal government might as well cede a few districts to the Shanghai government. At this point, you might think that Shanghai's Lujiazui Group is an enterprise with a conscience, because it could have worked out a deal with the Suzhou municipal government, passed the inspection, and sold the flats. Such collusion isn't uncommon in China. We will present some examples to you in this episode. Yet, the Chinese people have sadly realized that the matter isn't that simple, and the problem of toxic land was actually discovered by foreign forces, often mentioned in the party media. Who is the foreign force? It is Suzhou Reading School, which is going to be introduced into this development zone. The school was jointly established by the Suzhou Education Group and the Reading School of the UK and was going to enroll more than 200 students. In the Yangtze River Delta region, in order to make the commercial park more valuable and upscale, it is a common practice to bring in Western schools. Who would have thought that such a foreign school would take things so seriously? According to a report by Tencent.com, sources close to the matter revealed that in June 2021, the school administration of Suzhou Reading School investigated the soil contamination status of Lot 2, where the school was located during the process of applying for an operating license. Without talking to the local government or consulting with the developer, it went ahead and conducted the test itself. On the first test, the contamination was discovered. It found there were contaminants in Lot 2. The findings were confirmed by the later investigation by a third-party appraisal organization recommended by the government. As a result, the Suzhou Reading School project was suspended, and students who had been enrolled were arranged to study at other schools on a contract basis. The school's fence is now covered with warning signs that read, "There is a risk of contamination on this site." A security guard is on duty at the site entrance. Across the road from the school is the fenced-off and completely deserted Lot 4. In other words, Suzhou Reading School triggered a massive investigation of the toxic land. There is no telling how many more homebuyers, students, and teachers would have been victimized had it not been for the British school. Benzopyrene is recognized by the WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer as a Class 1 carcinogen. Its cancerous effect process involves several stages. First, it enters the human body through the skin, breathing, or food, and then distributes to various organs and tissues. While inside the body, it may also cause genetic mutations and abnormal cell growth. Most notably, its toxicity has a long-term and insidious character. When the human body is exposed to it or ingests it, even if there is no uncomfortable reaction at the moment, it will accumulate in the body. There is a long latent period, generally 20 to 25 years, before symptoms are manifested. Future generations will also be affected. No one knows if the construction workers, the grassroots who built the homes on the toxic land, are already suffering from cancer. An article appeared in the Chinese media titled, "I spent the savings of 2 generations to buy into a toxic neighborhood." The article describes the concerns of residents who have been living there for a year. The plot they live on is Lot 15, with 6 buildings. It hasn't yet been designated as a contaminated site, but the owners are skeptical and worried. The neighborhood is adjacent to contaminated Lot 17. They took to Chinese social media and questioned, "Why are the 3 lots handed over to the owners all non-toxic, which is strange? I don't know if Lujiazui has conducted any pollution tests for this neighborhood, but now the whole family is worried about the risk of cancer." One homeowner wrote, "I just bought it at the highest price and spent all the savings of 2 generations on this home. But I didn't expect the pollution to be there and so bad. But these posts were removed shortly afterward." Apart from this, these owners are also worried about not being able to sell their homes at a good price, or sell them at all. The contamination effects are spreading. Some homebuyers said on social media platforms that they had planned to visit the neighborhood but changed their mind after the toxic land incident. In fact, there have long been complaints about pollution. The official website of the Suzhou High-Tech Zone Management Committee has published 2 lists of public complaints and reports and the disclosure of concurrent supervision and rectification. Among them, pollution testing of relevant plots showed that benzopyrene and naphthalene in the soil of many plots seriously exceeded the standards and didn't meet the land use standards. The contaminated plots were transferred to the open market without testing and treatment. At present, all the defendants are in a state of silence. As for the Shanghai Lujiazui Group, which filed the lawsuit, some Chinese netizens said, "How can it be possible that such a major listing company operated by such savvy elites in the financial industry and the real estate development suddenly realized that they had been deceived after 7 years? Can things be that simple?" For this reason, some netizens wrote, "If the British hadn't come to build the school, it would have been fine." So a question arises, is building homes on toxic land a small probability event in China? The answer is actually no. For example, China's real estate giant Evergrande's first project, Jinbi Garden, was built on a site that used to be a pesticide factory. Guangzhou's major real estate developer Fuli Properties, known as the king of renovation, takes land in old districts and renovates it to create new residential areas. A lot of those old areas used to be industrial sites for chemical plants and sulfuric acid plants. In 2004, Guangzhou City bid to host the Asian Games. At that time, the land previously operated on by the Guangzhou nitrogen fertilizer factory happened to become available. The Guangzhou municipal government originally planned to use the land to build the Asian Games village, but later gave it up in view of the soil problem. Imagine the impact on the CCP government if many foreign delegations came to the Games and got nosebleeds for no apparent reason. This is information that can be found in Chinese media. During the 30 years of rapid development of the real estate industry in China, are the countless land parcels safe even though they have never appeared in the news? Changzhou, another city in Jiangsu province, was exposed to a toxic land incident in 2016. Changzhou Foreign Language School is a public school. The CCTV News at that time reported that after the school moved to a new campus, hundreds of students developed similar symptoms of discomfort. After examination, it was found that 493 students suffered from dermatitis, eczema, bronchitis, abnormal blood indices, and other diseases, and malignant diseases such as lymphoma and leukemia were detected individually. It also reported that many parents started to bring food and water for students during lunchtime and tried to prevent students from using the water in the school. The cause of the students' illnesses has been found to be the pollution of the school's surroundings, which used to be 3 chemical plants adjacent to the school's north side. The chemical plants produced a wide range of highly toxic products, some of which are even banned in China today. To minimize costs, the factories not only discharged toxic wastewater directly out of the factory, but also secretly buried it underground. One of them is a major national high-tech enterprise, but in December 2014, 6 of its chemical plants were fined RMB 160 million for polluting a river by dumping waste acid. After laboratory tests, the groundwater of the chemical plants around the school was seriously overloaded with heavy metal pollutants, with chlorobenzene exceeding the standard by 94,799 times in the groundwater and 78,899 times in the soil. The level of carbon tetrachloride exceeded the standard by 22,699 times, and other hazardous substances exceeded the standard by thousands of times. These are all substances that have long been identified by the WHO as carcinogenic, and long-term exposure can cause leukemia and tumors. Why then should the school be situated on a piece of land with serious environmental pollution? An official from the Changzhou Municipal Bureau of Education said it was because the buildings on the old campus of the Changzhou Foreign Language School presented safety hazards, and it was necessary to relocate and build a new campus. At that time, the environment of the site was also evaluated, and the test results met the standards. In the assessment report of the site selection, it was shown that the site was in line with the norms of the school site. Chinese media outlet The Beijing News continued to dig into the case and found that Changzhou Foreign Language School had long been aware of the toxic land. Around 2010, during the relocation process of the 3 chemical factories on the toxic site, it was found that the dumping of waste liquids had led to serious soil contamination. Subsequently, the government carried out land remediation at the site. Retired employees of those factories also reported to the local Environmental Protection Department that an unknown amount of hazardous waste had been landfilled into the ground before the factories were relocated. However, the Environmental Protection Department later claimed that the retired employees' reports weren't true. According to a report in the Beijing News, a review of the EIA report published on the official website of the Changzhou Foreign Language School revealed that the report stated early on that the soil and groundwater contamination of the surrounding site had an impact on the North Plot. In other words, be it before or after the construction of the school, the government and the school both knew that nearly 3,000 students would have to face the toxic land. Of course, the parents had no idea. Because of the public outcry over the incident, the Education Supervisory Committee of the State Council of China initiated an investigation into the incident. 4 months later, on August 26, 2016, the official Xinhua website released the results of its investigation into the incident, stating that the environment at the Changzhou Foreign Language School was safe. Netizens denounced the authorities as telling lies with their eyes wide open. A young man named Lei Yang died strangely a month after the Changzhou toxic land incident was exposed. He was an official in an organization under the State-Owned Asset Supervision and Administration Commission and a 2009 master's degree student at the School of the Environment of Renmin University of China. He allegedly participated in an investigation team led by the State Council. On May 8, 2016, he left his home at 9 p.m. to pick up his family at an airport, where the plane was scheduled to land at 11 p.m. An hour later, this young environment expert was found in handcuffs, showing no signs of life. The official conclusion was that he was suspected of patronizing prostitutes and having passed away after being subjected to coercive measures by the police. It became a bitter joke on the Chinese web. A post on Sina Weibo at the time revealed that Lei was the only investigator in the Changzhou school incident who wouldn't sign off on the toxic investigation report. The 3 plainclothes police who showed up at the scene were Jiangsu provincial police officers. Lei Yang was said to be eliminated on the spot because he refused to sign off the report. After reading stories like this and looking back at the Westerners who initiated the land inspection at Suzhou's reading school, they probably haven't realized that their foreign status can sometimes be a protective talisman for them in China. As mentioned earlier, the biggest player in the Suzhou toxic land case is Ping An Group, the de facto controller of the Suzhou Steel Group. That is to say, this case also involves the insurance giant Ping An of China, as the invisible landlord Ping An is faced with a US $1.4 billion lawsuit. So, what will it do? Ping An Group has been chosen several times by the CCP government as the rescuer of companies on the verge of bankruptcy. Reuters exclusively cited several sources on November 8, 2023, that the Chinese government had asked Ping An Insurance Group to take control of the troubled Country Garden, China's largest private real estate developer, leading to a drop in its share price. However, a Ping An spokesman said the government hadn't contacted the company and denied the news report by Reuters. As the crises pile up, China's companies and organizations, which are both problem makers and rescuers, should be having a tough time.